The old lighthouse stood alone on the edge of the rocky shore, its paint peeled and its windows clouded by years of salt and wind. No ships passed by anymore, and no one came to visit except the seagulls and the waves. Inside, Elias, the last keeper, sat by the window with a cup of cold tea and a stack of letters that had never been sent. His hands trembled as he picked one up. The ink had faded, the paper yellowed. He knew every word by heart, because he had written the same letter 100 times, but never mailed it. It always began the same way. My dearest Anna, I hope this reaches you someday. He had been writing to his wife for 27 years. It had been a night like no other. The sky was black, the sea furious. Elias had been the keeper of the lighthouse for only 2 years when the storm came. A ship was lost that night. A passenger ship heading home from across the Atlantic. Among the missing was Anna, his wife. Elias had lit the lamp in the tower as bright as he could, but the storm was too strong. The light flickered, the glass cracked, and the sea swallowed everything. When morning came, the waves carried wreckage to the shore. Planks, suitcases, and a single shoe that he recognized. He searched for days, but she was gone. Since that night, Elias had never left the lighthouse. He became a ghost among the living, waiting for a letter that would never come. Years passed. The world outside changed. Electric lights replaced oil lamps, ships became steel giants, and the sea routes shifted far from his lonely rock. Still, Elias stayed. He fixed the light even though no ships would see it. Then one morning he found something unusual. It was early dawn, and the tide had washed up a small glass bottle, sealed with wax. Inside was a folded piece of paper. He opened it with trembling fingers. The words were written in blue ink, neat and delicate. To whoever finds this, if you are near the old lighthouse, tell Elias I forgive him. The sea carries messages better than any mailman. Anna. He froze. The world seemed to stop. At first, he thought it must be a cruel joke, perhaps from some traveler who knew his story. But how could they know the handwriting? He would recognize it anywhere. It was hers. Elias looked toward the horizon. The sea was calm and silver in the light of dawn. Anna, he whispered, is it you? For weeks afterward, more bottles came. Small, simple glass bottles that washed ashore one by one. Each carried a short note. Do not be afraid, Elias. I'm closer than you think. The light you keep still guides me. You are forgiven. He began to believe. Each time he found a new message, his heart beat faster, and the loneliness inside him eased. He talked to her aloud as he worked, cleaning the mirrors, polishing the lantern, and writing new letters to drop into the sea. To anyone else, it would have been madness. But to Elias, it was salvation. One summer, a young woman came to the lighthouse. She was a traveler, a writer, and curious about the stories of the coast. She found Elias outside, fixing the old railing. You're the keeper? She asked. I was, he said with a smile. Now I'm just the listener. She stayed for tea, and he told her everything, the storm, the loss, and the letters in bottles. The woman listened quietly, her eyes shining with both pity and wonder. Do you still get the letters? She asked. Elias nodded. Sometimes. The sea brings them when it wishes. The last one said she's waiting for me to come home. The young woman left the next morning, but she wrote about him in her journal. She never forgot the look in his eyes, half sorrow, half peace. Autumn came, and with it, another storm. The wind howled around the tower, waves crashing against the cliffs. But this time Elias wasn't afraid. He climbed to the top of the lighthouse and lit the lamp one last time. The flame burned bright, defying the wind. He stood there, watching the storm clouds roll across the horizon, and smiled. When the morning came, the storm was gone. The lighthouse was still standing, but Elias was nowhere to be found. On the windowsill there was a single glass bottle. Inside it was a note written in Elias's hand. I saw her last night in the waves. She smiled and I followed. Don't mourn me. The sea has finally delivered my letter. The young writer returned to the lighthouse years later. It had been abandoned, its door half broken, its lamp long cold. She walked along the shore and found a bottle in the sand. The paper inside was old, nearly falling apart, but still readable. My dearest Anna, the light is still burning for you. Elias. The woman held the letter to her chest and looked out to sea. The horizon was glowing with the last light of sunset, and for a moment, she thought she saw two figures, hand in hand, walking along the edge of the water. Some loves never die. They drift across time, carried by memory and faith, until they find their way home. Sometimes the messages we send into the world don't need answers. They only need to be heard.